All right, so all roads lead to Kyrgyzstan. Leaders of 8 countries, Russia, China, India, Pakistan, and also the 4 Central Asian nations of Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan are meeting today at the Kyrgyz capital of Bishkek for the SCO summit. Now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in fact, left for Bishkek earlier this morning, and this is India's Prime Minister's first multilateral engagement post his resounding electoral comeback. He will, of course, be landing at the Kyrgyz capital sometime at around 2:30 in the afternoon Indian Standard Time. He'll also be holding 3 bilateral meetings today. The Prime Minister will be meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and also Afghan President Ashraf Ghani. The Prime Minister Modi will also be joined by world leaders for an informal dinner that will be hosted by the Kyrgyz President Suronboy Jeenbekov. Now, the SCO summit, SCO of course stands for Shanghai Cooperation Organisation, will be followed by bilateral talks with the Kyrgyz leadership. The Prime Minister will also be holding delegation-level talks with President Jeenbekov, and the 2 leaders will also be jointly inaugurating the Indian-Kyrgyz Business Forum. All right, now for more on this, we are joined in by my colleague Siddhant Sibil, who's presently at the Kyrgyz capital of Bishkek. He's joining us live from there. Good morning to you, Siddhant. This is an extremely significant visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is also his first visit in a multilateral engagement of this nature. Give us a sense as to what is on agenda today.
Well, yes, it's a significant visit of the Indian Prime Minister. He will be reaching here in few hours' time, around 3 p.m. local time, and it's a packed schedule as always in prime ministerial visits. 2-day visit, but he will be meeting 5 leaders: China, Russia, Afghanistan, Iran and Kyrgyzstan, and he will be having a number of police-side meetings as well. Tomorrow those police-side meetings will happen, but no mention of a police-side with Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. Focus clearly for New Delhi is the issue of terrorism. Remember, there are 3 issues which the Shanghai spirit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has been focusing on, which is terrorism, separatism and extremism. And in these lines, New Delhi will be highlighting how Pakistan-based terrorism has been destabilizing the entire region, whether it's Afghanistan or whether it's India. But largely, New Delhi will be focusing on things like connectivity, on trade, because we know when it comes to trade, there has been a trend globally of protectionism that is harming a lot of countries here in Asia, and of course SCO members, whether it's China or whether it's India. Remember the big tiff between Beijing and Washington, and now the heat is also coming on New Delhi. So clearly that is something that will be highlighted in the joint communique when it will be released tomorrow by 2 p.m. But other than that, focus will remain on how New Delhi can use this entire grouping as a platform to engage with the Central Asian countries. In the first tenure, we saw how the Indian Prime Minister visited all the Central Asian countries. In fact, this is the second visit of the Indian Prime Minister to Kyrgyzstan, and he will be having a whole host of events here in Kyrgyzstan, whether it's a business meet or whether it's meeting with the Kyrgyz president, who was in fact invited just few days ago, just 10 days ago, to New Delhi for the oath-taking ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the 2nd term.
Absolutely indeed. And also looking at the countries that are part of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, we've got China, we've got Russia, we've got India and also Pakistan, besides the 4 Central Asian nations. China has in fact been under pressure from the United States due to the bitter trade war. Can we expect any statement at all to be made by the Chinese in terms of how they'd like to take on the United States in this bitter trade war that's been unleashed?
Well, this is a China-led organization, SCO, and do expect a pretty strong statement on trade issues, on protectionism, on making sure that multilateral groups such as WTO are safe, because we know there is a tiff going on inside the WTO as well because of US insistence of saying that WTO is not up to the mark. But by and large, remember, this grouping will be also focusing on connectivity. New Delhi has its own connectivity plans. The Chabar port is something that has been lauded by so many envoys of Central Asian countries. We have been speaking to them in New Delhi, and of course we have spoken to India's envoy here. And Chabahar is something that will be going to connect India with Afghanistan and with the rest of the Central Asian countries. In fact, today the two important bilaterals, there are three bilateral, but two important one with the Chinese President Xi Jinping and the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, and in both the meetings do expect security challenges, the connectivity issues to be discussed. But India also has some major disagreements, in fact not some major disagreements with China, because remember China's One Belt One Road initiative, it's part of it is CPEC, which passes through Pakistan and passes through an area which is Indian territory and has been illegally occupied by Pakistan. So that is why India will not be joining its connectivity programs. In fact, in every SCO meet, the last time when the SCO meet happened in China, where the Indian Prime Minister went immediately after the Wuhan summit, the Indian Prime Minister strongly raised this issue that the connectivity project should be inclusive, they should not violate sovereign territory, and of course they should not create crises such as the debt crisis which are happening here in Central Asia as well.
Absolutely indeed. So we'll be looking at all of this as day in full. Thank you very much indeed, Siddhant Sibil, for joining us from Bishkek and getting us that perspective there. All right, let's also now have a look as to what exactly is unfolding at Bishkek. The President of China, Xi Jinping, has arrived at the Kyrgyz capital for the 19th SCO summit. Now, President Xi was received by the Kyrgyz President Suranbat Jinbekov, and President Xi has thanked his counterpart for the warm reception and also has extended best wishes for his countrymen. The President Xi has pointed out that China and Kyrgyzstan are connected by mountain and also by rivers, and the two leaders also discussed the future of the bilateral relationship between China and Kyrgyzstan. Now, other leaders of the SCO countries are expected to arrive soon.
The 19th Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit is all set to begin here in Kyrgyz capital Bishkek from 13th to 14th. Focus will be on many global and regional issues such as trade, connectivity and counter-terror. Follow me, Siddhant Sibil, for all the latest and live updates from Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, only on WION.